everybody. The audio should be better. We've had a couple of weeks that has been um, pretty weird to say the least. As far as the audio go, we've had an interface that shut down and wasn't acting right anymore. So we had to take a move real quick and grab another interface in order to get better audio. You may still hear a little bit of something under the audio, and you may not. But if you do, then that's something that we cannot fix at this point in time. But nonetheless, it's going to be an amazing evening tonight. Very excited to have this guy join me. I have known him for some years now. I'd say probably 4 years, 5 years, maybe. But met this guy actually probably a little more than that, five, maybe five. Met this guy when I used to work at the pawn shop, and you know, cold music guy. He loves music, loves playing and all that stuff. And we're gonna talk a bit about that tonight. Um, and as you know, with every single one of these, we have the um, volunteered sponsor, which means that I say that they sponsor us. They did not sponsor us. I wish they did. Well, actually, I don't know if I wish they did yet because I haven't tried this one. But I'm gonna try this one real quick, and we'll see. This is a solid drink though, so you have no sugar added, simple ingredients, 25 slightly sweet calories, politely caffeinated, no sweeteners, no artificial colors, no preservatives, no artificial flavors, refreshingly uplifting. Let's see what we got here. That's pretty good. So that's a blueberry soda. It's called New Wave Soda. If you are looking for a soda that's better for you than drinking a whole lot of junk, go on and try that one. It's pretty good. But without further ado, I'm excited to be able to introduce you guys to this guy here in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and run that new intro because we have to run a new intro. We may run it twice tonight. We'll see. It depends on if y'all ask. And so here we go. We're going to run that thing and we're going. So if you like music, I believe you'll like this. Today is sponsored by We Are Live. Come on. Change. Come on. Welcome to Story and Notes. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm here. We're sharing the link right now to some more folks. John is sharing this thing, and here you go, John. You can share it to whoever you want. So tonight, like I said, I'm excited to have this conversation with this guy. He is a musician. He's a singer. He is a songwriter. And hopefully we can get a song out of him tonight here live. So without further ado, I love to introduce you guys to the John Sanders.
How you doing,
John?
man?
How you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's been a good summer.
yes.
Yep.
All right. I see you got the Martin cap
I got
tonight.
the Martin hat tonight. Yeah.
Yep,
I'll be playing a
so-
Yamaha guitar though, so
Yeah.
you know.
So
that's
now-
a story in itself.
But you do have a Martin.
I do have a Martin.
Okay.
Yes.
And you decided to bring the Yamaha because why?
Well, for several years I played the Martin. Played it live out in different shows in summertime and out in the heat, in the cold, and
Yeah.
it just takes a toll on that kind of guitar doing that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
A guitar tech that was working on it all the time for me. He told me, he says, you got to get something else that you're tearing this guitar up. So
Yeah.
the Martin became my studio guitar, and
Okay.
and I bought this Yamaha at the pawn shop.
And it is a beauty.
It is a beauty.
Yeah. What pawn
and
shop did you get it from?
I got it at the Trading Post.
Okay.
And
Yes, yes.
I was back when I worked there, I was working on guitars, and this one came out for sale and needed some work, and that's what I did there. So I gave her some love, and she's my number one performing guitar. So
Solid.
that's what I brought tonight.
Solid. Okay, so I was going to ask you this question. I usually ask some of the same questions,
Sure.
but I try not to. I like to hear people answer them in the way that they're going to answer 'em.
Right.
We'll start with just give me a bit of your background as far as, how did you get into music, your earliest childhood memory of like really enjoying music and things of that nature.
Uh, yeah, earliest childhood memory. I remember sitting in the family room with my dad and all of his college and high school friends, and Dad would be playing the ukulele, and they'd be all singing and harmonizing, and that was a good evening for the Sanders family. And then my dad kind of got me into playing guitar, and my mom has always joked that when my dad stopped playing guitar several years later, she asked him, how come you never play guitar? And he says, well, when John got better than me, I quit playing. And yeah, if I'd have known that, I might not have gotten so good.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Okay.
But anyhow, so yeah, so I the first childhood performance I remember doing, I was in second grade, and I sat on the front edge of the stage at the second grade choir
Yeah.
for all the parents and everything,
Yeah.
and the guitar was bigger than I was,
Wow.
and I sat up there and strummed to a song, and
So you've been playing for quite a bit of time,
for a
man.
long time, yeah.
Wow, that's solid,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Sheesh. So you got into it because of your dad.
yeah, yeah.
And
We're
that's
a
wild.
very musical family,
Okay.
It's, my sisters sang, and my older brother played the drums, and so yeah, we all kind of a Saturday afternoon in the
Yeah.
summertime was usually very rarely watching TV. It was some music was on somewhere, whether it was
Okay.
Dad playing Frank Sinatra or my brother playing Rolling Stones. I mean,
Yeah.
there was music on at some point
Yeah.
almost all the time.
Now, do y'all still do y'all ever get together? Any of y'all get together and jam around? Or anything?
We
Yeah.
don't.
No? Okay.
I'm really the only one that kind of stuck with it.
Yeah. Okay.
However, my older sister,
Mhm.
her kids are all very musical. Her second son is Paul, and he graduated with masters in music theory, and
Wow.
and he actually lived out in California for a while,
Yeah.
scoring music for
Wow.
different productions and everything. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool,
so,
man. Wow.
yeah, so
Okay.
he's stayed in it, and he's got an album out, and
Yeah.
and
Make sure you plug that when we.
Oh, yeah.
Plug that.
Yeah.
Man. And check it out.
yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, look it up for
Yeah,
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
that's
see here.
cool. I'm like, this is the thing. So, you know, when I first started this podcast, or before I started this podcast, my main goal was to for one thing, support local musicians.
Right.
So because I don't, I'm not I don't actively at this point in time, play live really any. I play at church a lot, but I don't necessarily gig out. But I love being able to go hear live music. It's one of my favorite things to do, and so my main goal was to be able to shine more light on local musicians. But then, as musicians as a whole,
Right.
because there's a part of me that believe that we'll see another, I guess, almost a renaissance of live music,
Mhm.
where people will start to really appreciate live music again. In a way to where it once was. That was the way that you went to do it. And the thing is, no matter how far technology get, no matter how much any of that stuff goes, you can't replace live on the spot music.
No.
You cannot replace it.
No.
And so my hope is that this be a part of helping to push that forward. Like, hey, go out and check out live music, which we'll talk a bit about some of what you got going on,
Right,
and
right.
things like that. So did you end up
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. So Paul Humphrey,
Okay.
and his album is called A Window In.
Okay. So Paul Humphrey, and it's called and it's a window in.
A Window In. Yeah, and it's REY at the end. Yeah.
And is that HUMPHRUY?
Yes.
Window in. It's called a window in.
A window in. Yes.
Yeah, so I just put that in the text line there. Actually, that may be going. I think that one is just going to going over to YouTube. But either way it go, whenever y'all catch that, go ahead and look him up. You know, check him out. I mean, one of the coolest things is being able to explore. And hey, what's up, Don Miller? That's my cousin there. He's a musician as well. What's up, dude? Yeah, so like one of the coolest things, like one of my favorite things to do is like find, new musicians, new artists, and
Right.
like just, listen. Like I go to sleep every single night listening to music. And so, there's always that time. Like if I don't have time throughout the day for whatever reason to like actively listen to music, then
Right.
at night is my time to, to do that. So, cool, man. So, we talked about your earliest childhood memory and that. What? How long have you? Because you've played live, like so you play live. Um, how long have you been playing live, like actively gigging? And then like tell me about your first like gig besides the second grade.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a laugh. All
Yeah.
right, let's see what that is, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Tyrone? What's up, fam? That's my cousin too.
So yeah, so I jammed around with people all through high school and
Yeah.
college and whatnot, and got married right out of college, and a lot of my friends were like, you're it, man. That's not you're done trying
Yeah.
to be a musician. You're an old married man now.
Just sell the gear.
And lo and behold, my wife comes home. The first year we're married, my wife comes home she was working at Johns County Community College, and she comes home with an ad for a band looking for a guitar player.
Yeah.
And so I went out and auditioned for them and ended up getting the gig and turned out to be a couple of my high school buddies that I didn't really know when I was in high school, but we went to high school together. And
Okay.
so yeah, that band was called Secret Identity.
Okay.
And it was a rough ride at first.
Yeah.
We bounced around different bars and whatnot, trying to get good, and our drummer was had some timing issues, and that's the last thing you want a drummer to have is timing issues,
Yeah.
And so, long story short, we ended up kind of regrouping and getting another drummer and keyboard player, singer,
Yeah.
and took off. So and so yeah, some of those shows were pretty crazy. We played. One in particular I remember is we played a bar up in Hiawatha, Kansas.
Okay.
And we were, at the time, we were a new rock band, This is in the late 80s, and so we were playing late 80s music, which, I play now in a band, and it's called classic rock,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyhow, listening to KY 102 here in the area here.
Okay.
And a new song had come on, and we'd learn it as quickly as we could. And so that's what we were. We were a rock and roll band.
Okay.
We get this gig in Hiawatha, and it's a barn. I mean, it is a two-story barn with dirt floor,
Yeah.
And balconies, and
Wow.
converted into this bar. And we're thinking, we're thinking Blues Brothers, Chicken Wire, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to go over here.
Yeah.
And that was the funnest night we've ever played. I think we had a huge
Yeah.
crowd. They were wanting rock and roll, and we gave it to them.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
yeah, that was a blast.
That's solid. So was that one of your your favorite venues and or like shows you end up playing? Like what's one of your favorite places that you've ended up playing? It's just like, man, this was just the
the all-time favorite.
Yeah, all-time favorite.
Yeah, so about 3 summers ago, we played. We opened for Sawyer Brown out at Gardner, Kansas, for the county fair
Yeah.
kickoff kind of thing, and
oh yeah.
yeah, there was probably I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 people there,
Yeah.
and we had just released an EP
Okay.
with some originals, and there were people in the front rows that got there early to see us play,
Yeah.
and while we're playing, looking down and seeing them singing the words to one of the songs, you know, and it's like
Yeah.
when people are singing the words to one of your original songs,
Yeah.
you know, that's a feeling that
Yeah.
that you just
Yeah.
hard
Goodness.
to pass.
Sheesh. Have you ever
So
played Old Settlers?
no, we've not
Okay.
played Old Settlers.
You ever wanted to?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a production.
Mm-hmm.
We played. We didn't play Old Settlers, but we played an event in Olathe
Out that way.
in that area.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of bands, and you know,
Yeah.
it's an event doing that. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah,
Okay. Solid, man. So there's I have a cousin on here that every single week she jumps on and she has the best questions ever, like without doubt. And actually, guys, if you so happen to have a question, don't let her outdo you on these questions. I believe that she's getting these questions from somewhere else, but I'm just saying, Angela, if you listening to me, I'm just saying these questions are amazing, and I think you're doing something. So she asked, you mentioned the idea that you're too old to be doing music. Did you find that anyone judged you when trying to join the band? Were your bandmates younger than you, similar age? Do you find that there are people who are reluctant to work with you because of age?
no, and I don't know. I if I said that, I didn't mean that. I'm not too old to play music.
Yeah.
I don't think I am. You know, I slow down after time, hands, because you get old, you know, and the bones get sore, and you
Yeah.
know, arthritis and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't recover the next morning as quickly as I used to
Yeah.
when I was younger. But no, you know, it's for the music that we're playing
Mhm.
and the bars and stuff. I don't think anybody cares how old you are. They care about how good the music sounds, you know, and that's what
Yeah.
we try to do. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay. That's a solid answer.
yeah.
Sheesh. All right. So she asks, Angela asks, do you feel your maturity and life experience adds an extra layer to your music compared to the youngins?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
even, not to cut you off, but even like, even thinking about that, even if the songs are cover songs, I feel like there's a certain amount of like life lived and experience that you can't get unless like you've actually been through enough experiences. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever song that may be, and I'm just saying this because it's a popular song, but Tennessee Whiskey.
Yeah,
You know, and I don't know if you know that song or
I
not,
do.
but yeah. So you singing that song versus the 18-year-old kid singing that song. Not that the 18-year-old kid isn't amazing; he hadn't been practicing, none of that. But there's a certain amount of like um, IQ, musical IQ, in a sense of like dynamics. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, hey,
right.
how to dig in, when to dig in, how to pull back. All of those things that comes with. You
Right, and
know,
that's. I mean, I remember when I was young, and you know, shredding on electric guitar. You know,
Yeah.
as a lead guitar player in the band, and you know, it was just about how fast you could go. You know, and you know, just you know, I'm just gonna wail on this one for a while. You know,
hmm
and you know, part of it getting older, and my fingers don't go as fast as they used to.
Yeah.
You know, they obviously my brain goes faster than my hands right now, but a guitar player told me a long time ago, and he said, you know, you get to that point where it's not how you play something, um, you know, technically. It's more of, you know, how you feel
Yeah.
playing something, you
Mm.
know,
That's
and
good.
and that kind of takes you back into a little bit of kind of where the song came from, and you know, and I had a guy that told me the last show I played. He goes, you know, you play a lot of covers, but if nobody knew the covers, they'd think they were yours
Mm.
because
Wow, that's
it's
good.
you don't try to copy something. You try to put your own feeling in it.
That's
And I
good.
think that's what happens when you mature into music
Yeah.
is that you connect better with the music.
Goodness. Hey, John is coming with it. That's good, man. Seriously. Okay, so you said something like maybe people think I'm too old before the story about your wife with the
uh,
ad.
yeah. So no, that was kind of a joke
Oh,
with
okay.
my friends and whatnot. When I was, I was talking about wanting to be into music and be a superstar, and do all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, and get into a band and do all this kind of stuff, and um, I wasn't one of the first in my group of friends that got married, but I was one of the early ones that got married.
Hmm.
And they were just joking, now you got a wife,
Yeah,
you're gonna spend all, it's like playing golf, I mean,
yeah,
you can, as a single guy, you can go out and golf every time you can go out and golf on a Wednesday if you want to, and
yeah,
nobody says nothing. But
yeah,
when you get married, then it's like, well, you got to have the family time and
yeah, yeah,
that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of what they were. I think that's what they were teasing me about. Is like, no, now
yeah,
you're a married man, and you can't be out,
yeah.
going to
Two,
bars on,
three in the
and
morning. Yeah,
you know playing all the music for the girls and whatnot, and
yeah,
it's like, you gotta, you got responsibilities with your wife and your home, and so I think that's what they were kind
yeah.
of referring
Okay.
to, and it was ironic that she's the one that actually found the band for me. So.
Wow, that's solid, man. Shout out to wives that's finding bands for
There
their
you go.
husbands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so she Angela asked, what advice would you have for people who get told they're too old based on society standards, or that music isn't a career you should chase, and to focus on more traditional careers that require schooling? It's a good question.
It is a good question. You got to go with your heart. I mean,
Mm,
if you're a musician, and it doesn't matter what.
mm,
That's the cool thing about music. I think
yeah,
is that it really doesn't matter what you look like, how old you are. I've heard little kids that. I mean, you watch that. What was that show with? Um,
America's Got Talent or something. Or,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and you see this little kid come up, and you're like, yeah,
yeah,
okay, I've heard a 12-year-old sing before,
yeah,
and they come out and blow your doors off,
yeah.
and it's the same thing. Look at Mick Jagger,
Hmm.
look at some of these old timers that are still out there, I
Yeah,
mean, hell, Rolling Stones, they're still touring,
yeah. Wow,
um, and they
wow.
look like kids.
Yeah,
So I
wow.
say if you got it, do it. Don't
Mm,
don't let anybody influence. Don't let anybody think that
yeah.
you can't do it because of what you look
Age
like or
and
your
yeah,
age or
yeah,
anything. It's just get out and do it.
yeah. That's
Music
solid.
music's blind, in my
Goodness.
opinion.
No, that's real. Like, so I had actually just made a post. Was it today or yesterday? I think it's earlier today. So I've been trying to get more active, like, and making posts on Instagram and stuff, as far as just little music things in general. And I don't know if you know this, so like music is first passion for me. So
Hmm.
like, I do videography and photography, as media content for, companies and stuff. But like music is like, that's where I come from.
Right.
And so I've been trying to be more active and starting to, post different things, just different bits of this and that, playing this or playing that. And one of the things that stick out, which we've all heard this before, but man, music really is a universal language. Like it really is one of those things to where, regardless of like if you even understand the lyrics, even if you understand, the words that's being said, like there's something that you can't deny when it comes to like what music makes you feel like.
Right.
And so it's like one of my favorite songs right now is by goodness, by Jeff Buckley.
Hmm.
So it's I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's a French song. And oh my goodness. I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's a very, 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 very cool. I'm gonna share that with you guys after the podcast. I shouldn't get flagged then if I share that exact thing. But basically, Very, very beautiful song. One of the songs that I happened to hear while I was, going to bed, and I'm laying. Actually, I was actually asleep.
Yeah.
I was asleep when the song
When,
came
yeah.
on, and sure enough, like it completely woke me up. It's just going. I'm like, what is this?
Right.
And of course, this is a very old song, and but it just goes to show. It's like I didn't know what a lot of what may be being said, but there's a certain feeling that you just can't deny,
Right.
man. When it comes to music,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And so,
Well,
good.
we talked a little bit earlier about concerts, and concerts coming back, and
Yeah.
and all that, and I mean, way back,
Hmm.
when bands were doing world tours,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of American bands were big in Japan,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they didn't understand what they were singing, and
Yeah.
but they would fill arenas because it's that, yeah,
Wild. Off of feeling.
yeah,
Just think about how
yeah,
wild that is,
yeah,
man. Like they would fill arenas literally off of an actual feeling.
right, because
Like
they had no idea what the words were, or what the songs were about. It
that's
just, yeah,
wild to think about.
yeah,
That is wild. Goodness. She had Angela had asked, do you feel most passionate um PR most alive? I think she's trying to say or. Sorry, Angela. Passionate or most alive in the studio making music or performing live? Pros, cons of both. Dang, she has the question.
that's a great
Goodness.
question.
Yeah.
Um,
Goodness. Wow.
I love performing live.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I still do it.
Yeah.
Um, there's nothing better than, in my opinion, than sharing your music live
Yeah.
with people as it's happening, mistakes and everything.
Yeah, man.
In a studio, I love the creativity part in the
Hmm.
studio. Um, Most of my studio experiences have been sitting around, drinking beer, eating pizza, waiting for your time to put your part on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like you're sitting around while the drummer and the bass player are putting down their
Yeah.
their tracks,
Yeah.
and then then it's like being a lead guitar, and it's like I'm usually the one of the last ones to go in it. Whenever in that most of those band situations in the studio, I was a guitar part
Hmm.
that was added, somewhere in a song, or a rhythm guitar part, or and then I was harmony vocals, and
Yeah.
harmony vocals are the very last thing you do,
Yeah.
and so it was
Yeah.
just hours of sitting around, But
Yeah.
um, I have done some studio work where it's been live, where
Yeah.
we just play live, and it's fun, but it's there's no
Yeah.
there's no interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're looking at your bandmates, or you're staring at a wall, or
Yeah.
I mean, there's no interaction. It's the interaction that I like.
Yeah.
For an example, kind of when COVID was ending, and
Mm.
people were kind of starting to go back out again, and they
Mm.
weren't really hiring clubs weren't hiring bands because they didn't have the budget for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solo work was going through the roof. I mean, solo
Mm.
guys were,
Yeah.
because we were playing in clubs that used to play in as bands, but they
Mm.
didn't have the budget to pay the band, so they would hire a solo or a duo.
Yeah.
And so we were starting to get back out as solo artists and start and playing these clubs again.
Yeah.
But the crowd still kind of wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so, there were times where I'd be in a bar or a restaurant or whatnot, and there'd be 10 people in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and some friends of mine are, they're like, wow, that's got to be rough. They're eating dinner, they're not even paying attention to you, and you're just background music, and my thought process to all that was, and I did this with the band too, but it's just you pick somebody out, you find somebody that's digging
Yeah.
it, you find somebody out there that's tapping their foot, or looking up every now and again, or applauding and all that, and you play your whole night to that person.
Yeah, man.
And that's the interaction that
Yeah.
that makes the whole live performance kind of go.
Dang. Dude,
So,
man, your answers are solid. Seriously, because the wild thing is like thinking about how that's what it all is. Like, I feel like everything that we do just in humanity as a whole is relating. You know what I mean? Just like
Right.
that's all we're all trying to do is trying to relate. We're all trying to communicate one another, and music so happened to be one of those things that do kind of break down like certain barriers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Between like there may be all kinds. We may have differences in all kinds of stuff. Um, and even in music, stylistically, maybe, but there's something cool, man, about like, for instance, you got your guitar here. I don't know, like, let's just say whatever. I feel like every person that plays an instrument, when you play when you play to people, is different from when you play to yourself.
Oh
So
yeah.
like when I pick up a guitar and I play to myself, I may play in such and such, like I typically just naturally fall into this thing that I do,
Right.
versus like playing to somebody else. And but the thing is, it's like before I play anything on that right there, that guitar actually, and this sounds weird and to sounds strange, but as soon as I see a person with the guitar, I already feel a sense of like, you know, relating. I
Right.
feel a sense of camaraderie.
Right.
Like there's a sense of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
No. I
he
never.
may
Yeah.
play something completely different from me, play it completely different, all that, but there's a certain amount of like, community going on
Right.
because
Right.
there's this thing, I know that
I,
sounds.
I saw. I was just with going with what you said. I
Yeah.
saw a post earlier today that made me laugh. But it said that a concert is nothing more than a group therapy session between the musicians and the audience.
Dude, say it again. Say it again.
Yeah.
I gotta type that.
Yeah.
Hold on, man.
Yeah, it's not mine. I didn't.
Yeah, but we gotta put
yeah,
that in the
but yeah. No, they
comments.
said that a concert is nothing more than a group therapy session between the musicians and the audience. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could take credit for that, but
Then a group. What is this guy doing? Therapy session. Explain I hope I spelled that. Cause I ain't even looking. All right, and that was by some random person.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's solid.
yeah. But I mean, it goes right along with what you were with, what you were saying,
Yeah,
that it's
yeah, man.
people go to concerts because they want to feel good.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. Dude, so listen to this. We just had something cool happen. So, dude, look at that. So, Morgan Heisman said, I was really good friends with your daughter back in middle school days. So, Morgan Heisman is a very good friend of mine. Um, Killer vocalist.
Yeah.
Man. Her voice is awesome. But she just like realized that you own here, and she said, "Hi, Mr. Sanders. Holy moly, small world." So she listened to
Oh, good darn.
that. That's
Well,
wild.
how you doing, Morgan?
Wow. Angela, is it still real quiet? And it probably got quiet because I wasn't talking on the microphone. Let me know if it's still quiet. She said my maiden name is LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
wild,
Yeah.
man. So, she's like I said, killer vocalist. Her husband is an awesome drummer, man.
Really?
Yeah, so like we actually do music together, just all the time. Like we play at church together.
Wow.
Yeah,
What? Yeah.
that's wild,
Yeah.
man.
What a
Small
small world.
world, isn't
Yeah.
that cool? Of
Yeah.
musicians. So, man, dang, that's yeah. All right, so we were talking about just music as a whole. So you got your guitar here. Um, do you remember the first song that you learned to play on a guitar?
Wow.
Mm.
Right. It's probably something I played with my dad.
Yeah.
So, back when we were sitting in the family room, and,
Yeah.
and he basically, he taught me 3 chords,
Okay.
and so everything we played was those 3 chords,
Yeah.
We just,
Was that G, D, what?
G, D, and C. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And those were the easiest chords to play, and so yeah, so it's probably one of his oldies that
Yeah.
but yeah, and then there's the every teenager learned that song.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And so you, I feel like you were saying, or I don't know if you said this to me. So I did a little spine and read your bio on your website.
Yep.
And you were mentioning that did you originally? So how long was it before you started playing some country music?
So, yeah, I played rock and roll for forever, and then I joined a band called the Riding High Band,
Right now.
which would have been probably early mid '90s,
Okay.
probably mid '90s,
Hmm.
and they were a country band,
Okay.
and so I kind of had to really kick it into gear and learn some country licks, and
Yeah.
kind of be legit that way,
Okay.
and I remember telling my dad, hey, look, Dad, I'm in a country band,
Yeah.
because that's what he always said is you got to learn how to play country,
Yeah.
and so yeah, kind of got into that a little bit, and then that band within probably a year, kind of we had a hard time finding clubs that would just play all country, and so we started mixing in some classic rock, and then we ended up being more of a classic rock band by the time that band ended. So
Okay.
but and then after that, I got into a band with Rusty LaFoon. We were called the I don't know if I can say this. Well, I'm going to, because the heck with them. But we were called the Radio Flyers,
Okay.
and we were. It started with, it was a radio that had wings,
Okay.
and it's because our music was so eclectic. It was so it was kind of all over the place in a sense. And so, we kind of looked at it as, we're flying around the radio channels, just playing just about anything that's, plays on the radio. And so, but then we got a cease and desist by the wagon company out of California that said we couldn't use that name anymore. And we're just like, well, what? We're just a small town local band from Kansas, we're not gonna cause you guys any harm. But, so anyway, so then we changed to, so from that point, we were kind of, Rusty and I were kind of figuring out what we were going to do. We were going to do a duo and just stay acoustic, or we were going to, and a booking agent came up to us. We were playing the Plaza Art Fair, and a booking agent came up to us and said, if you guys want to play country, the modern country, with some old country tied into it, I can book you all over the place.
Yeah.
And so there we went. We started learning the I guess it's called bro country, but it's the Jason Aldeans and the Luke Bryans and all that kind of stuff. The rockin' country, we started learning that, and then that's how we got shows like Sawyer Brown and
that's solid, man.
Travis Tritt and
Yeah. Who else you played behind or like y'all opened up for somebody else too? Travis Tritt. Let's see.
Well, yeah, we on that particular evening, Travis Tritt was the mainstay. He was the headliner. Jody Messina was there, and Los Lobos.
Oh yeah, man.
And and our mandolin player, Skinny Webb, actually was. We were sitting with the guys from Los Lobos backstage, and
that's good.
And he asked if they could just jam backstage, and they're like, "Well, why don't you just come up and play a couple with us?" And so he ended up going up playing mandolin for a couple of their songs.
Hey, that's cool.
So
wow. It's funny. This is probably kind of off, but it's not because we're talking music. But so I have you seen my mandolin when he came in, dude. Like that's been one of the hardest instruments to like get a hold of for me, man. Like it's such a. Do you play it at all?
I do, and I have
it's just,
big fingers,
Yeah.
And the frets are just really small and close together.
Okay,
and,
so I'm not tripping.
No.
All right. Yeah, because I've like I said, I've picked it up and I mess around on it a little bit, but that's been one of the roughest
Yeah.
things to learn because the fret is just so
Yeah, it's real, and
so
it's like playing a
small.
12 string that's like a miniature 12 string.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
It's-
it's rough, dude.
so
So while you got your guitar holding it here, this is almost a small lesson. I think this is kind of cool. So a lot of people that may be watching may not necessarily know what's how do you determine like when you're gonna play some country. Let's just say if you're gonna go ahead and just kind of do some licks and things like that, is there any way you could play a couple of licks that is definitive country and then a couple of licks that's definitive, more of a rock thing?
well, the country is more of the, the picking up. My strings are really dead, but so you're using your thumb, your index finger, and your little finger, whatnot, to kind of pick up on strings, to get that kind of, that kind of a sound.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Versus, the rock and roll is more of the,
Yeah.
that kind of a
Yeah.
deal. So, and I mean, I wouldn't consider myself necessarily a country picker. When I play the country songs, I'm probably more rock and roll on them than I am
Yeah.
country. But
Yeah.
it's still a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay. Do you have a favorite key that you play in, like as far as just kind of you naturally, whenever you just kind of playing alone, like is there a key that you typically kind of go
I,
drop
I
D?
love the drop D's.
Yeah.
I just love that whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
That's solid.
So-
That's solid. Dang, you got me thinking now, man. Do you I know you saying something about some blues. Do you play much blues in A minor? I'm gonna grab my guitar too. Hold up.
Ah.
This will be the first time, man.
First time playing your guitar on the podcast.
Yeah. Or like doing something like that when we got a couple of guitars.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh my goodness.
There she is. Yeah. Hopefully she's in tune. Love these snarks, man. Are you one of those phenoms that can that tunes without a tuner?
Yeah, I can get really close,
Yeah,
and
David,
and,
he's like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I gotta.
yeah.
Let's tune her up. Yeah, so you let's see. Let's see if we could do something in A minor. It's funny, so I restrung this myself, and I got all of the other tuners going the right way, besides this high E, and so it's the opposite. Yeah, so cool, man. I guess we're gonna do a little short jam real quick. I don't have a way to switch the thing, but let's go on and maybe I'll play something in A there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh man, that's
That
fun.
reminds me of the time that we lost power at the
Oh
pawn shop.
yeah,
We lost power at the pawn shop. You
yeah,
and I grabbed a couple
man.
of guitars, and yeah,
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 dude, I forgot all about
yeah.
that,
That was
man.
fun.
Sheesh,
That was fun.
man. See, so y'all can't see my face behind the camera here, but I'm like, it's such a weird thing. Like, I'm not trying to smile while I'm playing. It's just happening. It's just, and so anybody that's out there, like, if you don't play an instrument, it is never too late. Like, seriously, music is one of the few things that you it's never really too late, because there's some instrument that you can play, even like, when our hands ain't working quite well anymore to be able to make chords and stuff like that. I mean, even this thing right here, hand me that, John, the little kalimba. Even something like this, it's like, this is a kalimba. This is another instrument. This is another opportunity to be able to get involved in playing something, and it's just therapeutic. Like, there's so many different therapeutic elements about
Yeah,
playing music.
yeah.
Touching something that actually makes sound.
Right, right.
And
But
but
that's a line in my song
ah
that I wrote that says that this guitar is the only thing that calms my soul. And it
goodness,
takes me to a better place.
yeah, solid,
And it's just it is it's when things get when you had a hard day. I
yeah,
mean, it's driving home from work and was having a hard day, and it's sometimes I was hoping for a traffic jam so I could just put on some Allman Brothers, or put
yeah.
something on it that I can just sit in my car and just jam at until I get home. And by the time I got home, I was in a better mood.
Yeah, that's solid,
So,
man. So, well, that's gonna answer a question for me. So, music for you, what does music mean to you? Like, and there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer, but what does music mean to you as far as, like, you know, what does it do for you? Like, and let me preface that. Is there a certain artist, a certain song that you usually is kind of like a go-to, or a song that kind of breaks you out of, like, one of those hard moments or one of those hard times?
well, going to your first question, what is music to me? Music is a story.
Mm.
Music tells a story, and whether it be the lyrics that tell the story or whether it's just an instrumental.
Yeah.
But
Wow. That's awesome.
there's a crazy thing about all of us. We all have it. Um, and as soon as I say it, you're all going to go, "Oh yeah!" But you can smell something that'll take you to a certain point in time in your life.
Absolutely.
You can hear something, hear a song, or hear something that's going to take you to a certain spot
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah.
And so, with that said, like, I can listen to an instrumental and it tells a story, because
Mm.
it's like reading a book, and in your mind you're picturing the movie. You're
Wow.
picturing the
Yeah.
actors, and you're
That's
picturing
real.
what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And so, to answer your second part of that question, is there's not really a go-to song or a go-to artist for me. It depends on kind of what I'm.
Totally.
I mean, there'll be times where, especially after playing a live show with the full band,
Mm.
I may listen to some soft jazz on the way home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a complete contrast.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
So
Goodness.
it's just kind
Yeah.
of it's
Yeah.
that kind of gets you,
Depends.
puts you
Yeah.
back square again.
That's solid, man. So that leads us to one of my favorite parts of just these conversations, these talks, is being able to listen to some of that music.
Okay.
So I'd love for you to be able to go ahead and play some of, you got an original here.
So yeah, I guess it's been a year ago
Hmm.
that I wrote this song, and so going kind of goes back to my dad a little bit. He was my inspiration. He taught me how to play guitar, and he was always kind of my music coach in a sense. Whether I wanted to listen to him or not.
Yeah.
And play country, and he would tell me, oh, this, he was a big Frank Sinatra fan.
Oh yeah.
He loved Frank Sinatra,
Yeah,
and he could
man.
sing, he could belt out any Frank Sinatra song that, you
Goodness.
know, in my opinion, as good as Frank.
Wow.
And so he would tease with me. I'd get a new Styx album or a new REO Speedwagon or,
Yeah.
you know, or Led Zeppelin or something, and I'd play it, and he's like, "That's never gonna last." He goes, "You know what? Frank will be around for eternity. You know,
Yeah.
that music's never gonna last." Well, it did, you know, and it will. But
Yeah.
but so, anyways, but so yeah, my dad, we lost him September 23rd. So it's coming up on his year anniversary again. And but last year, about the same time, it was early September, mid September, I guess. And I was just sitting around, and I was just thinking about my dad. And I'm thinking about, you know, just missing him, you know, and I'd always struggled writing music. You know, everything I wrote came out like a Dr. Seuss nursery rhyme or something, you know. And a really good friend of mine who had passed away that year also told me before he passed away, he told me that he was a songwriter, and he told me that, you know, he goes, writing music is like falling in love. You know,
Wow.
you know when you fall in love. You know when you meet that person that
Yeah.
that's who I want to be with forever, and it's easy. You know, it's that relationship starts out easy. You know, and then it becomes the work to put into it.
Yeah.
And he said writing music is the same way. He goes, when you write from your heart and you write about something that's close to you,
Wow.
it's easy. It just comes out.
Wow.
And so
Goodness.
me and a
Goodness.
me and a big old, probably a triple glass of Jack Daniels. We sat down on my back deck, and I wrote the song out in about probably 15 minutes.
Wow.
And
Goodness.
I didn't know, but my neighbors were next door. They were out on their patio and heard the whole process, and
What?
then applauded at the end of it. And I was like, oh no.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, solid. So go ahead and play that out. This is actually the end where we're ending it off with,
Yep.
you know, with you playing this.
All right. So this is a song. It's called "Singing This One With Me Too."
All right.
Born and raised in this small town, there's nothing much there to do. My daddy taught me to play this guitar. He taught me a song or two, and we'd sit and play for hours, playing all the songs that we knew. Here I am singing my song for you, and I know he's singing this one with me too. Daddy told me to play them country songs. I was into rock and roll. He said that country is gonna make you a star. If you sing 'em, you'll go far. But I didn't take his advice. I wish I'd known then what I know now. Here I am singing my song for you, and I know he's singing this one with me too. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time, back to those days when he was there by my side, singing songs for you, 'cause I know he's singing this one with me too. This guitar's the only thing that calms my soul. It takes me to a better place. When life gets tough and your days get long, I thank my daddy for this song. So let me sit here and sing for you, and maybe you'll hear my daddy too, singing songs for you, 'cause I know he's singing this one with me too. Yeah, and I know he's singing this one with me too.
Oh man. Ah, hey y'all. I wish that y'all had the opportunity to be here live. Like, it's just something about, being in the room, man. Goodness, dude, that's awesome, man.
Well, thank you so much.
If you can, because I definitely want people to be able to come hear you live.
Yeah.
If you can, go ahead and share that with me. So, what do you have coming up?
So this Saturday, I'm going to be solo at the Lakeview Lakeshore Lakeview
Okay.
Lounge up in Lee Summit.
Okay.
And then the following Saturday, the 9th, I'm going to be out at the Peculiar. It's a second Friday farmers market summer concert series.
Okay.
And my full band, Outlaw Redemption,
Yes.
will be. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, John ended up givting me gifting me a couple of things. I got a sticker for his band here, Outlaw Redemptions, and then he also gave me a pick, which this is a freaking awesome pick. It's a great pick, seriously.
Yeah, they're quality picks.
Yeah.
So, but so the full band, Outlaw Redemption, will be at Stone Pillar Winery, September
man.
September 23rd.
I've been there, but I've never been there for live music.
Yeah.
I want to check. I want to go over there.
That's a good time there. And then the Saturday after that, 24th, will be at Conrad's Kitchen and Tap.
Okay.
Up in Lee Summit.
Okay. Do you have these on your Facebook?
So yes.
Okay.
So you can look up at it's johnsandersacoustic.com is my website, and I've got a calendar on there. It's also Facebook at John Sanders Acoustic, and the band is outlawredemption.com, and I keep an updated schedule on that as well.
Okay.
And it's got bios on there of all the players in that band, and some of the cool stuff that we've done, and some music on there too. So yeah.
Okay. That's solid, man. Well, I appreciate you showing up. And not only did he show up on time, he showed up early, which is awesome. Seriously. Hey, be like this, guys. I'd rather you be here early than to be here late. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming out, man. Like, this has been very, very cool.
Well,
like, I feel like there's been a lot of moments, within our conversation where I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah, good deal.
What it's about.
I'm glad you reached out and got me out here on this. It's this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun for me.
So you'll come back?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So seriously,
we'll
we'll definitely want you back.
Yep.
So cool, man. I appreciate it.
Come back
guys.
next time with fresher strings.
Yeah. Yep. There we go, man. So guys, hey, it's been another good night. We're going to keep doing these. As you can see, we're here on Wednesday, and I know I didn't give anybody a heads up that I was switching to Wednesday. There's a couple of good reasons. One of the main reasons I switched to Wednesdays was that one of my daughters, she's in cheer, and her cheer, a lot of her stuff happens on Thursdays. I cannot miss those, and so therefore I had to switch tonight. Then I also noticed last week the Chiefs play when it was playing on a Thursday, and I'm like, oh goodness, man, this is I don't want to compete against them. And so yeah, so Wednesdays will be the night for now on, just going forward. And just remember tonight's situation was sponsored by New Wave Soda, but it wasn't. But go ahead and check them out. It's been very nice, like a very nice drink. Don't have any kind of guilt from drinking it, only goodness. Make sure you guys have a good night. Remember, and I say this every time because I believe it, God loves you, and I love you guys. Y'all have a good night. Can't wait to see y'all next Wednesday. And I'm going to play that the intro out. We're going to do that. We're going to play the intro out. All right. Y'all have a good night there. All right. So if you like music, I believe you'll like this. Today is sponsored by We Are Live. Come on. Change. Come on. Welcome to Story and Notes.